Welcome back everybody, video 2 in my developing your core strength video log. So if you followed the first one, it obviously revealed that my partner was pregnant. It's brand new information to us and we're now at 19 weeks. So we're going to progress on from there and show you that how you can keep developing your core strength and keep getting stronger in your core strength even through pregnancy. Now, whether you're watching this as a guy just to get a stronger core, this works for you. If you're watching this as a female currently pregnant, great, you can follow along with Sophors depending on where your current core strength is and get everything out of these videos that we're going to be doing. But if you're pre-pregnancy, perfect for you. If it's during pregnancy, really good to do. If this is post-pregnancy, even better to do to develop that core strength back up and really get that solid midline that you once had or stronger than you ever had. What we're going to go through today, there's 4 very simple exercises. The last video, it was all on our backs. So what that does is it just means that the spine is not under any load from gravity at all, and it's the safest place to start building our TVA and our abdominal muscles and the inner core from there. Now what we're going to be doing is bringing ourselves up off of the ground and working the core as a whole, really activating the back, the obliques, and everything else that's involved. So for those of you that are pregnant, obviously what happens is as you get further along, the belly starts to protrude, and that means that the abdominals have to stretch a little bit and get a bit more length through there, so you may not be able to activate them as you once could. If you are post-pregnancy, you've also got that separation, so it's very important we're not activating one side more than the other, because if that separation is still there, we're just going to make that much worse and aggravate it, and you're going to end up with a big split, which is what we don't want to do. So please follow along and really get my cues down before attempting any of these exercises, and make sure you've tried the first video's exercises before loading in and attempting these ones. All right, but let's get into it. So exercise 1 we're going to do is the quadruped hold. Very simple, just like the word says. 4 points touching the ground. What you're going to do is your wrists are going to remain under your shoulders, your knees are going to remain under your hips. Come forward a little bit. See how she was sitting back a bit too much? So now bring your hands further forward. That's it, come forward a bit more. There we go, so now they're under here. Now, she's got this nice little neutral spine. What I want you to do is remove that by tensing your abdomen. So I want you to get that little crunch and curl. You should posteriorly rotate the hips a little bit. From here, making sure a nice even weight distribution through the toes and the hands. Now maintaining this position, keep that crunch. You're going to push through the ground, lifting the knees off of the ground. Now the whole body is stimulated at this point. We should try and hold this position, breathing, nice relaxed breathing, really tensing the abs. You'll feel it in your quads, everywhere. If you can hold this for 30 seconds, that's a great start. And then come down and rest for 30 seconds, and then repeat and go again. If you can't do that, excellent, straight back up. Awesome, upgrade to 45 seconds. If you can do that, upgrade to a minute. But just holding for a bit, resting for a bit, holding for a bit, resting for a bit, and just increase as you go. That's exercise number 1. Exercise number 2 is the bird dog. So in a very similar position, you're going to keep the knees under the hips, you're going to keep the wrists under the shoulders. From here, we're tucking the hips, tensing the abdomen again, really keeping that position. Now we don't want any of this to move. You're going to start to keep that core still, but move the limbs around it. So we're going to lift the opposite arm and opposite leg, outstretch it, don't let the weight shift to one side. Get as high as we can. Now you want to try and get out flat. If you can't do that, just go to whichever level you're at and bring it back down. And we're going to swap sides, keeping that core tension on. Don't let yourself lose that brace in the midline. Swap sides. Nice. Don't let the body shift. Stay centered and down. Good. So we want to just be reaching out through the upper back and pulling back with the leg, with the glute, hamstrings, and posterior chain there. You'll feel the back activate as you were working this posterior sling. That's exercise number 2. So you can see how we're bringing a lot more of the back muscles into into these core exercises. Exercise number 3, the plank. Very simple, well, not so simple, but very common. So, elbows under shoulders, nice stable line. Now what you won't see is I'm not going to say straight line from feet to shoulders, because what a lot of people will do is they'll go too low for me, and the low back starts to take a lot of the grunt. So what I'm going to say is come up a little bit, and I want you to crunch the core. There we go, crunch the abs at the front. I'm holding that position, squeeze the thighs as well, so you should really feel this in your quads. Now if this is too hard for you at this stage, just drop the knees, bring the knees to the floor, keep that crunch in the abdomen, and we're just going to hold the contraction there. All right, if this is still too difficult, what you're going to do is just change the angle of your body by coming up onto your hands and just holding it there. Now make sure if the hands, they have to be under the shoulders as well. If you do come up here, we want to make sure we're pushing the hands through the ground, pulling the back up, really pushing the shoulder blades. There we go, that position there, keeping the abdomen on, and just work through that one. When you're good at that, then you can drop back down the elbows. When you're strong with that, then you can come back up onto the toes. And build for, say, 3 sets of 1 minute again. That's a good, nice, solid pace to work in there. The last one, I'll get you to face the camera, is the side plank. So now just working the obliques, does a little, your TVA as well, if you can really get that contraction properly. Now nice and simple, a few key things we need to make sure of. Make sure the feet are on top of each other. I do see people split it and have both feet on the ground. It's going to work different muscles and could make you imbalanced. And then make sure that elbow is under the shoulder when we lift as well. When we come up, we also want to make sure that we are completely vertically aligned. So our top shoulder is not in front of the bottom one or behind it. A good way to do that is to bring this arm up straight in the air and just make sure you're staying vertically aligned that way. If this is too difficult, what you can do, come down for me, bend the knees, right back, right back, right back. There we go. And you're just going to shoot up from the knees. And just same thing, up from there. There we go. Arm straight up and just holding there. So you've shortened the lever length there, which just means there's not as much pressure on those bottom obliques. Wicked. There we are, guys. There's the second video done. If you've progressed this far, well done. You can get a very strong core with these exercises. Keep working at this and stay tuned for video 3.